Hi, Brambleton. It is Principal Dawson here, and welcome to Back to School Night 2020. I'm going to walk you all through a presentation with some current information about this year and share some of the things that we are doing before I send you all off to our newest version of how we're doing Back to School Night in our Google Sites. So I'm going to go ahead and get started. I'm presenting to you all on the screen. So if you see me looking over here, you're going to see me looking at the presentation to make sure I get everything prepared for you all. The first thing I want to do is introduce myself to those of you all who are new to Brambleton. I'm Principal Dawson. I have three amazing assistant principals with me this year. I have Mr. Rimmel, I have Miss Sharma, and I have Miss Coptish. And many of you already know these three. They are fantastic supports and amazing administrators. Some other members of my administrative team are my great deans. In sixth grade, I have Miss Hackett, who is incredibly excited to start over with the sixth graders this year. She sent off our eighth grade last year, so she's really excited about sixth grade this year. In seventh grade, I have Mr. Haney. And actually, seventh grade is where Mr. Haney started when we opened Brambleton. And then I have in eighth grade, Miss Orr. And that's actually where she started when we opened Brambleton. So I'm very excited about these six amazing leaders that are helping us navigate these new times. They're a great support and a great team. The next group of people that are very important to me that I'd like to introduce to the community is our counseling team. We have Miss Husavinovich, who is in our sixth grade as our sixth grade counselor. We have Miss Rich, who is in seventh grade. We have Miss Armstrong, who is in seventh grade as well. And Miss Jacoby is in eighth grade, and Miss Burt. So this is our amazing counseling team here at Brambleton. So one of the first things that I want to do is to share with you all how we've kind of reimagined what our connections are and how we are working with our community during these times, particularly since a lot of our communication is behind the screen. So one of the things that we really wanted to make sure we did as a school was to have these three components: consistency, transparency, and communication. I'm going to read this because I think it's important for me to articulate it in a way that you all know how much this means to us and how important these three things are to us for our community. This is different for all of us. We're going to be challenged in our roles in ways that we have never been challenged in the past. And I'm confident that we're going to take each challenge as an opportunity, each struggle as a pathway to improvement, and each unknown as a chance for discovery. Consistency and transparency are our keys to really building community trust, and communication is going to be our superpower. So we've done a lot of things to really make sure that we are consistent, that we communicate. I know that was feedback that we gathered from some of our perceptual data, how important communication is. And so I'm going to walk you guys through some of the things that we've been doing. When I thought about this presentation, I thought it was important to really talk about some of the traditions that we have at Brambleton that are very important and that we are not going to let disappear because of this new community that we're in. So our traditions are different, but they continue. So the climb balloons for our new sixth graders, that is part of who we are. And when our students come in the building on the first day, you have these nice climb balloons and we're outside greeting them. And so that's what we wanted to do when we did our pickup. We wanted to make sure that we continue that tradition. And then, of course, those of you all that have been with us as our students leave us on the last day of school, we leave with our climb balloons as well. So it was important that we kept that tradition alive. And there is another very, very special tradition, and that is our 9/11 school-wide day of service. We started that last year with the spearheading done by three amazing teachers and the support of an entire teacher community and staff community and parents and students. So for those of you that don't know, last year when we did this, We had over 1,500 students participating in a school-wide day of service. I would say we had roughly 80 parents that also participated, and then our entire staff. It's a powerful example of service to others in community and honoring those lives lost on 9/11 in a way that is about remembrance and giving back to our local and global community. And so this year we wanted to honor that tradition and continue it. Although it looked different, it was still really powerful, and it's something that is very Brambleton Middle School and that we will continue to do. So that tradition, we did it again this year. The next thing I want to talk about is Feed the Bear. So one of the things that my leadership team did this summer, and I actually started in the spring, was doing some empathy interviews where I reached out to different parents in the community and different students and asked them questions about how learning is important to them and what are things that excite you in a classroom, things that make you want to learn. What inspires you to want to think critically about things in your classes? So what we did is that continued, and that continued with my entire leadership team. And they went out and they asked various families and teachers about things relative to learning and the school culture and the school climate that were important to our families, to our students, and to our teachers. And what we did is we crafted this into what is known as Feed the Bear. And so Brambleton Middle School is really committed to our work in supporting and extending learning beyond the classroom for all of our students. And how do we feed the bear? We focus our collective efforts to feed the mind, feed the body, and feed the future of every single Brambleton Middle School student. And so that's where Feed the Bear came from. We know that it's important that we are focusing on making sure that we are feeding the mind of our students and feeding the body and feeding the future and preparing them and equipping our students with tools and skills for the future. And so that's where Feed the Bear actually came out of interviews and conversations with families and with teachers, with students, to figure out what it was that we could try to do as a school to support our students. It's not perfect, but I can tell you this, we are really working very hard as a school to make sure that we meet the needs of each and every student. So that's how we are attempting to feed the bear. So one of the things that we've done was to make sure if we're going to support the whole child, we're going to provide our students with authentic learning experiences, enriching and valuable content delivered, and then also giving them opportunities to think critically, to collaborate, to really dive into the profile of a graduate. We wanted to make sure that we aligned all of the work that we do as a school under this banner of really feeding the bear, which is those three buckets that I talked about before: feeding the mind, feeding the body, and feeding the future. And so we have Den Time. And I know some parents were asking about advisory and what is that, and is it the same thing as Den Time? So we knew that this was an important time because connections is really what school is all about. You know, we miss our kids, and those connections are key. And Den Time, the actual intention of Den Time is really about relationship building and connections and really harnessing all of that to focus in on building a positive school culture. So in Den Time, we have basically two parts. One part is the Positivity Project, which I am incredibly excited about. It is a project that was started by two military veterans. And after they left the military, they realized that they wanted to continue to serve in a way. And they realized that the best way that they could do that was to create opportunities that empowered students, the young people. And so they created the Positivity Project. And it's really based in these character strengths. So we're really excited to be working with that organization this year and embedding those lessons into our Den Time. The other thing that we knew was very important was tapping into the social emotional needs of our students and providing them some tools and different strategies that they could use, and we could support them in this distance environment. And then, of course, when we return back to bricks and mortar. So what we did is we married those two into Den Time to create some lessons. And the intersection really of those two things is Feed the Bear. Because if we do these things well, and we try and we attempt to do those well, then we really will be focusing on feeding the mind, feeding the body, and feeding the future of our kids. And so this is what Den Time looks like. So on Tuesdays, those days in Den Time is really a social emotional focus. Wednesday is also a social emotional focus, but we've got it divided out, and it's all about alignment. So feeding the mind is on Tuesday, feeding the body is on Wednesday, and feeding the body could be a wellness thing. We've worked with our health and PE teachers to create some lessons with feeding the body, the wellness, the physical wellness in mind. And then Thursday and Friday is when we really tap into the positivity project for feeding the future. And that's where we talk about some character strengths. So Brambleton Middle School is committed to our work to support and extend learning beyond the classroom for all of our students. And how do we feed the bear? Just as I shared earlier, we're going to focus our collective efforts to feed the mind, feed the body, and feed the future of every student. And we do that through aligning our work under the common goal. So equity at Brambleton Middle School. One of the things, and this is our mission statement, the thing I really like about our mission statement for Brambleton is that this was created based on focus groups, parent focus group, student focus group, and teacher focus groups. So this message, this mission and vision for Brambleton Middle School really is the voice of our community in words. And so we, since we've opened, have had a focus and have been thoughtful about the importance of equity in the work that we do in our school for every student. And so what we decided to do was to come up with ways and to look at our program and how that looked at Brambleton. And what are things that we did at Brambleton that really centered around making sure that each and every student in our building felt valued and appreciated. And so this year, of course, we have Feed the Bear, which is really a collective and intentional effort towards, as I mentioned, feeding the mind, feeding the body, and feeding the future of our students. We have lots of tools that we use to kind of navigate that and support Feeding the Bear. And then we have the Climb Crew, which I'm very excited about. And our Climb Crew is a collection of teachers, and there will be family members on this, and there will be students on this committee. And it is a committee, it is a crew that is really under the banner of Climb. And we all know that that's what Brambleton is about. We create, we lead, we inspire, we motivate, and we believe. So the Climb Crew is really like an extension of that, and making sure that we are intentional with our work about how we support and honor and celebrate all of our students at Brambleton. Den Time, as I've talked about, we're really working on the character traits of positivity project, focusing in on that social emotional support that we can do for our students. And then also at the same time, making sure that we're looking at feeding the bear, feeding the mind, feeding the body, and feeding the future of every student. We have BAM Aid this year, which is where we have an opportunity to really talk about our students in a way that we can provide supports and interventions to students that we know are struggling. And then also at the same time, we are going to be rolling out opportunities where we recognize the successes of students and celebrate those successes as well. The profile of a graduate, one of the things that I can say is our teachers are tremendous innovators, and they are working diligently to create engaging lessons. And they've had to really change the face of what teaching is looking like in this virtual environment. And the thing that I can say about all of the teachers at Brambleton is that they're working very hard to engage students in meaningful and purposeful learning. And so the profile of a graduate is one way that we do that, because we want to prepare our students for the future. So having students understand the 5 C's, understanding that communication, collaboration, creativity, critical thinking, and contribution are all competencies that will really prepare them for the future, in addition to the content that they are learning. So all of those skills really envelop the instruction that the students are getting, and it really builds that capacity within our students to support that profile of a graduate. And then BAM serves. As the community knows, service is something that's hugely important to me because it means that you're connected to your community. And one of the things that I can say is we are very, very fortunate to have such an amazing community as Brambleton. Our families are there for the school, and we know that. And one of the things that I think, if in a small lesson, when we are talking to our students about things that they can do to make a positive impact, how can we kind of prepare our students and empower them to make meaningful contributions to the world, as our division is really trying to do, and providing them with authentic and challenging problems and learning experiences that are meaningful. So you've got all of these things under the umbrella of CLIMB, and I just thought it was really important for the families to see just a small glimpse of the things that are happening behind the scenes. Feeding the Bear, CLIMB Crew, that is a community committee where we have family members, we have students, and we have teachers working together to celebrate and honor all of the people that are in our building. So we're very excited about that. Den time, BAMA, the profile of a graduate, and of course, service. At the bottom, you can see where we're going to be spotlighting certain things throughout the year to kind of tap into the beautiful tapestry that is the students and the community that we have here at Brambleton. And so, as I shared, this is the profile of a graduate. We have been, actually, Brambleton Middle School was really the pilot for making sure that this was something that our students could own and learn, that these competencies and skills in the profile of a graduate were valuable to our students, and that we would give them opportunities to really collaborate better, to communicate better, to find creative solutions, critically think about local and global issues, and think about how they can solve those, expanding on the curriculum and the content that they have. And then also contribution. So these are the 5 C's, and you all will hear about those, I'm sure, if you have not already. So school communication, as I talked about earlier, is something that's very important. And I want parents and families to know that when you all share information with us, we actually listen to what you have to say. So we have this communication action list, and then we have feedback that has really shaped what that communication action list looks like. So the Principal Weekly Update, I do that every week. There's a lot of information, and I did get feedback from our community, and I took that feedback under advisement because we really want to make this process easier for our families. So we adjusted the title to include major content sections, and they're divided into actions, things that we need from our families, resources, things that you can go to and get information that you might need, and then school spotlights. So you can actually see some of the things that are happening in the schools. And there are really some amazing things happening in Brambleton, so I try to do a little snapshot of that. But I divided those sections up, and I put those titles in based on parent feedback. So thanks to the parents who reached out about that. The Dean Weekly memos, those come out in the Schoology platform, and that's something that we've continued even though we have Schoology, because it gives you a nice little picture of all of the things that your student would be working on in a particular grade level. And then any other general grade level information. So you might get certain information from the principal, you might actually get it again from the dean, it just looks in a different format. And then we also did give feedback about making sure we have name, subject, grade level, and school in correspondence. And we share that with our teachers. And then Schoology. So I want to thank our PTSO for being absolutely amazing. What I did is I wanted to make sure that we listened to what the parents' needs were with regard to Schoology. I reached out to my PTSO and said, Can you give me some feedback regarding Schoology so that we can create a video resource for families in terms of how to navigate Schoology? And so that is in the works, and that is happening based on feedback and ongoing feedback from families about what you would need to know about how to navigate Schoology. So it's important for you all to know that we are kind of in this work together, and that we listen and we adapt accordingly to support the needs of our community. We may not get it right all the time, and I expect that, but what I can tell you is that we are doing our absolute best to make sure that we listen and that we adapt accordingly to support our community. So thank you for your feedback, and thank you for your support, and thank you for your patience as we really just take what you say and then we adjust accordingly to support our kids. And the last thing I want to share with you is our PTSO. So I cannot say enough how amazing the PTSO is at Brambleton. They have done some extraordinary work behind the scenes. So in our 9/11 project that we did, our 9/11 Day of Service this year, it was amazing. Our 3 teachers reached out to the PTSO and said, you know, we want to give our students an opportunity to get some incentives for participating in this. Would you be willing to help us in this endeavor? And the PTSO stepped right in. Those fantastic bags that we got, the hashtag Feed the Bear, our PTSO helped us support in the purchase of those so that every single student at Brambleton Middle School could have a nice sling bag. The other thing that our PTSO did was they do a lot of things for our teachers to help them, to give them supplies, to help support learning in our building. They have done t-shirts every year, which has become a tradition. Normally in our 6th grade year, we go door to door and we deliver our t-shirts to every single 6th grade student. This year we weren't able to do that, but our students were able to get a t-shirt so that everybody knows this student is a Brambleton Middle School student. So our PTSO is just an amazing organization that is so supportive and really exemplifies the spirit of family and school partnership. So I want to say thank you to them. And I also want to say it would be a great organization for you to join. If you go to our website, you can click on the PTSO and you can get information about all the great things that they do and how you can join and sign up. The last thing I want to say is, and I say this all the time, we are 100% Brambleton strong. I know that as a building principal, I am very, very blessed to have such an extraordinary support system and partnership in our community. We miss our kids. I miss them. I am definitely a kid principal. I miss them. I think, you know, I cannot wait until the kids come back and that we're all again together again. I'm excited about that. But I will say this, and I will close this with this. We are Brambleton strong. No matter the distance, we are in this together. We are one community and we work together in all things. So thank you all. Again, we miss the kids. And again, thank you to my amazing parents, my amazing families, and my #1 amazing students and teachers. Thank you guys so much. Have a good night. And don't forget, go check out your teachers. Oh, I almost forgot. There are clues. There are clues at the end of every teacher's video. Okay. So what you need to do is collect these clues. And parents, if we get 200 parents to sign up in 6th grade, if we get 200 in 7th grade, and if we get 200 in 8th grade, the kids will get an extra 15 minutes of lunch on Friday. Do not panic. We're just going to move our schedule into Learning Lab. So you're not going to lose any instructional time, but you will get a little bit of extra lunch time. So look for the clues at the end of the videos. Thank you guys. Bye.